Hi, everybody, and welcome to another What's Current podcast from NAPIT. And you're joined today by me, Stephen Humphreys, Technical Commercial Manager. I've also got Andy with me, and he's the Technical Commercial Engineer here at NAPIT. And we have got Kristina from CrimeStoppers. Welcome, Kristina.
Hello, welcome.
Welcome.
So a bit of an unusual one for us, this one, but a fantastic subject. We're going to talk today about things like energy theft and meter tampering. So really good for our members to listen to and wider industry to get into this one. So we're really excited to be doing this one and have Kristina here with us. So Kristina, before we start, just tell us a little about CrimeStoppers and your role within that organisation.
So I am Network Engagement Manager at CrimeStoppers, and I mainly look after state energy safe reporting service that is managed by CrimeStoppers. And my main object is to really connect with various organizations, tell them what the state energy safe is and what energy theft is, so that they can, be aware about the dangers, they can be aware about what to do and how to report. So with the CrimeStoppers, we do have this reporting line specifically for energy theft, so people can report online or by the phone. So we do hope, and what I'm trying to achieve with the role is to really to make sure that people are using the reporting service and they know what it is.
Okay, cool.
Fantastic.
So Kristina, what is energy theft, and I suppose what are the dangers that are associated with it?
Yes, so energy theft does sound like very formal, probably term to some of us. So usually we do describe it as illegal activity when the meter are bypassed or tampered with in order to avoid paying the energy bill. So it can be gas or electricity. And there's various ways of doing that. So people sometimes inject foreign elements into the meter. Sometimes they put extra wires around that and tampering that way. Also, it can be the case when people tapping directly to the grid. So there's various ways of doing that. However, the fact that probably nobody really considers, especially the ones who decides to do that, that it's extremely dangerous and it can lead to the fires, electrocutions, explosions, and it affects not only the premises where it is, but also the neighbors, the people who actually lives in the premises, but they are not aware this is happening. So yeah, there is a big risk, and we understand that perhaps people not considering that, and they think that it doesn't really bother others, but it does, and it's really important to understand. And it can, the fatal consequences can be, you cannot go back to the to what had happened, so you cannot fix it.
I suppose it's quite crazy in this day and age that people are prepared to take that physical risk to themselves, like, with danger of some serious injuries. Both me and Andy are qualified electricians now in this role, but we know the dangers of electricity from having shocks through our own stupidity in the past, but not something where you're tampering with meters and tapping straight into the grid. Like you say, that is some risk to take. And also, like you mentioned there, Kristina, it's not only the cost to others, is it? The actual physical cost. It is costing us as payer of bills, isn't it, as well? So tell us more about that.
So it's been estimated that we do all pay in UK. We do all pay additionally around £50 to our energy bill per year. So for some people, it's obviously a little, and for some of us, it's significant amount of money. But this is not as well, considering the fact that, we are all affected and we know all the dangers, so it shouldn't be appropriate way of saving energy. The other ways, and we want to encourage and everyone to report if they see anything, because it does affect us all, and obviously the neighbors, especially if it's not, if it's, let's say, a commercial property. So there is additional dangers if you consider there is a workers who do work in the commercial property every day, so staff members and also customers who goes to visit those places. So if that is a pub or cafe that does decide to do that, you know, if you think about it, hundreds of people going to pub, let's say, and they don't know that this is happening around them, and if something goes wrong by accident, the whole pub can explode with all the customer and staff members. So it does affect us all by the monies and by the fact that it's really dangerous.
Yeah, and I take it, Kristina, legally there's some heavy consequences for doing that. I thought, you know, I've seen something data about fines are quite considerable, and even maybe prison sentences.
Yeah, so it's said that it can be around 5 years in prison if you
Wow.
as well. You can be fined around for up to or around £2,000. But it can vary actually depending on the volume of the theft and depending of the potential risks and potential dangers. So it can vary. So it can be pretty big.
Yeah, I think during my time on the tools, 20 odd years, especially when I was working for myself, and I'm sure Andy can relate to this, I did come across meter tampering when we entered properties because we used to do a lot of social housing. And sometimes, you know, we saw the meter tampered with, bypassed, whatever the way they did it. And we reported that obviously to the electricity board at the time when it was back then, the good old days. But from what you know, Kristina, and the organisation, how widespread is energy theft? Is it quite a large problem?
So first of all, we do receive every month 900, around 900. So now it's around 1,000. So every month to receive that amount of reports, it does say that it does quite big.
Yeah.
It used to be around 500, so it did increase around 50%. Also, we do know that 2,500 cases, does go unreported. It's estimated as well that it happens up to 1 in 150 houses every year. So it's
Wow.
And also there was as well a really good survey by Direct Line insurance group company. They did ask various electricians and gas engineers if they ever seen signs of this. So almost around 50%, it was 43% of them have seen signs of tampering. 43% of gas engineers and electricians being asked by the customer to tamper with their meter. So this is a quite significant amount as well. And you know, even though you don't see this is happening every day on the news, 43% is a significant amount. And even though, you know, you might don't see this every day on news, it's still happening. And luckily it doesn't explode or doesn't catch the fire, but it's still happening, and you never know when things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite scary what you said there. 250,000 energy theft goes unreported each year, because I've done some research as well, and that's the research I found as well. And as you said, that then puts a £50 a year added to the customer's bill, and that's 1.4 million a year to pay out. And then even more scarier stat that I found, that was over 280 people are either killed or injured badly due to meter tampering. It is some scary stats there, really, isn't there?
Goodness me.
Exactly. And I think since the cost of living crisis started, we did see that
Of course.
there's the increase, and we understand that people perhaps struggling with with the bills, but this is just not appropriate way to do that, because from the fatal cases we see in the media, we see that usually the victims are the ones who doesn't know that this is happening around them. So, there is a case when a son decides to tamper with the meter, and a mom who lives in the premise with the son, unfortunately inhalates the smoke, which caused by the tampered meter, and passes away. And there is more cases like this. So
Scary.
Even electrician who Colin Nyland, who's experienced electrician, basically used to work on the pub in the pub as an electrician. He did some lighting installation, and as an electrician, as much as I'm aware, you should at least check it out how everything looks like around the meter, isn't it, to just ensure that it's safe.
Yes,
so
yeah, definitely.
He just closed the eyes, and unfortunately, due to that, the child was electrocuted as well. So it does happen. It's just perhaps not every day we see those stories, luckily, but it does happen.
And you've talked about there, obviously, the meter being tampered with. What can the public, do to spot things like that? Our listeners and members, what should they be looking for? I'm guessing extra wires, damaged cables, mold equipment, burning smells. Are those typical things that they should be spotting? And if they did spot them, what should they do? And what's the process for them? If you could explain that, if you don't mind.
Oh, so as you said yourself, so it can be a burning smell around the meter. Meter can be melted. You could see potentially extra wires, extra pipes. It can be a smell of gas around as well. Sometimes the dials are not moving, or it shows no credit, but you still get the energy.
Okay.
So these are the most common signs of energy theft or meter tampering. So all of these instances, even though it's suspect, we do recommend to report it. So with Stay Energy Safe, we have reporting service that is completely free, completely anonymous, and we also operate 24/7. So anybody can call or submit online form any time of day, any day, even on a Christmas night, if they want to. So we operate, and we do ask just a couple of questions. We need an address to know where the meter is, to locate it. We ask whether the property is domestic or commercial. As well, we ask whether they know if that is gas theft or electricity theft, and if they can submit any additional information that can help in the investigation process as well. Take this. Once it's submitted, and it shouldn't take very long, couple of minutes. Usually we straight away check the information, ensuring there is no information about the reporter. So if, let's say, you visited the premises, you saw something wrong, and you said, oh, I just visited the premises, we would eliminate that information so that there is nothing related to you. It's just pure information about the act where the theft is going on. So we making sure there is nothing related to you. If you calling and you do say information about yourself as well, do not include that. And then we do send this piece of information to the relevant energy supplier so that they can start investigation process.
Then, Kristina, once you've reported it on, do they normally get onto that quite quickly?
So we really we're trying to pass the information as soon as possible, but obviously sometimes it depends of the volume of reports, but usually it takes a couple of minutes, and generally to get in touch with us, it doesn't take long, because I know if somebody decides to get in touch with the energy supplier, they need to go through customer service, which is quite long services sometimes, and it can take time to get in touch with them. Or sometimes people decide to call the police if they want to. As well, it can take some time. Usually, we're pretty quick, so it takes a couple of minutes. And usually, if you just submit the form, it's really a couple of minutes to write down the address, where it's happening, and submit.
Yeah, and then the energy provider, once they've got that information, are they fairly rapid in moving on to that as well from their end?
Yes, usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know. You mentioned something earlier, Kristina, which was a good point. We mentioned, obviously, we came through the pandemic, a few years ago now, granted, but obviously energy crisis and people struggling with the cost of living. So, I'm not advocating or saying, but and it's not a reason for energy theft, but you can see people struggling. There's almost that battle of, I'm going to take the risk to do it because I'm struggling so much to make ends meet. What kind of things do you suggest, or what guidance is available for people that may be tempted to go down that route rather than having the conversation with their energy provider?
Yeah, so it's there is well, we do recommend to speak with the suppliers because they do sometimes have some discounts or plans. It's obviously depend on them. We do not operate them. So it's really important to communicate with them just to try to see whether there is any other support as well. Perhaps get in touch with the local government, local council, citizen advice. Perhaps they have certain, they know about any schemes that is available for people. Generally, we do think that we do advise people to record and monitor their usage, perhaps change some appliances that is not that energy efficient,
Mm,
starting with the light bulbs, or think about insulating the house,
yeah.
so premises. So try to search and investigate into alternative routes, because you know we understand that you're struggling, but to take the risk, and this is not really appropriate and shouldn't be happening.
No, of course you're creating, you are committing a criminal act, aren't you, as well? Which
Exactly.
is the scary bit, really. It might be someone that's never been in trouble with the police before, and suddenly they find themselves on the wrong side of the law. Can lead to all kinds of other problems, shall we
And,
say?
and we've also got people probably messing with the meters, electrical meters, that may not have experience or a background in electrics, and that's even scary, isn't it?
It's even more scary. That's really good point. As well, we need to remember that sometimes people doing out of greed to run business more efficiently. So
Mm,
it's not only when people are vulnerable, it's also when people just generally want to be more, you know, profitable, or perhaps it's a criminal activity as cannabis farms. So they do require a lot of energy to run the business. So this is other cases and other considerations, I guess
yeah.
people
It's a
understand.
good, it's a good point you make there, and something that stuck with me was, you mentioned the case there, the example of, the vulnerable people in the house and children. If they've not done, like Andy said, if it's not competent people and they've left exposed copper conductors out, a kiddie could touch that and then it's game over, isn't it? So, there's so many different scenarios and dangers associated with this. It's really highlighted the actual problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, especially with the businesses who, you know, just considering the fact that you do have customers and clients coming in every day through your doors who doesn't have any understanding this is happening around, and the staff members are working there. So there was also a case where one business owner um, also provided accommodation for the employee. Unfortunately, employee was electrocuted in the shower because of the wrong connection. So
Wow.
the employee probably wasn't aware about this happening. And so in those type of cases, when somebody wants to run businesses, uh, we understand it's perhaps not an easy times, but it's not a way. It's just not acceptable.
Definitely not.
Is it? So I suppose How would our listeners go out there and report the process? What's best to do? You know, where should they go, etc. Christine?
So they can, everyone who sees or suspects energy theft or meter tampering, any shape or form, if they think that doesn't look right, which is most of the time is true. If it doesn't look right, it's not right. So we do recommend to report to Stay Energy Safe, because it's dedicated service for that specific topic. So there is educated and like trained staff members who are ready to accept the call if they prefer on our line. So it's 0800 023 277, or report it online on Stay Energy Safe website. There is a reporting form. So it takes a couple of minutes. Trained staff does check the information you submit and ensures there is nothing related about the person who reports. If they don't really bother about being anonymous or not being anonymous, they can call the police if they feel uncomfortable. They can get in touch with the energy supplier if they know who they are, or anyone in the in the sector, if they feel that is the right way. But Stay Energy Safe is dedicated service run by CrimeStoppers charity, who has 40 years experience and trust from the public about their anonymity. And I think it's quite important for people to feel safe of doing the right thing.
Yeah, I've been on the website, Christine. It's very impressive. Lots of help and guidance on there as well, and very clear what you need to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I went in there
exactly.
as well. Sorry, there's some good videos to watch for our listeners as well. Some really good videos that are hard hitting as well.
Yes, exactly. So they can, go check it out, Stay Energy Safe website. There is as well guidance how to identify. There is also reflection of various case studies, statistics as well. We do explain why it's not worth it. We do give some guidance for businesses and for domestic users how to save energy, so they as well can check it out and learn more how to be aware, because this is, I guess, one of the most important facts, like ways to be, to prevent that type of activity, just to be aware of that this is happening, and just to know where to seek support.
Okay, well, that draws the end to this episode of the podcast. So I want to thank Kristina and Steve for today, and we'll see you on the next What's a Current podcast in the future. So all the best, guys.